Welcome into Texans today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and coming up on today's program, I'm going to take a look at the top players on offense and on defense that you should keep an eye out for in the Texans' very first preseason matchup up against the Minnesota Vikings. We'll be live for this game. It's going to be on August 9th, so this Saturday, 3 p.m. Central Time. We'll be live 2 hours before kickoff, and I was actually looking at the analytics because we actually have a Vikings channel known as Vikings Now. We're actually losing in terms of subs gained this week. We've only gained 63 subs. They've gained 92. So help me beat our Vikings channel. Before we even step foot on the football field, let's out-sub them this week. If you're brand new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free, and you get Texans content all year long. So before I get into today's video, it's important to note most starters will likely not play. If they do play, it'll probably be only one drive. So you're not going to see a ton of starting guys on my list to start off today's show. It's mostly going to be backups, guys who are maybe vying for a starting spot, kind of like the first guy on my list, Blake Fischer, offensive tackle. Now, the saga of Blake Fischer this offseason continues. You probably saw my video that went out on Monday where Cam Robinson went down with injury. Everybody except for Blake Fischer, it seemed like, stepped up to get reps with the first team. I don't know if the coaching staff is out on him. I don't know if there's some underlying injury or something else that we don't know about. Bottom line, Blake Fischer's not getting run a ton with the first team, and I want to see how he goes up against other competition, namely those guys on the other side in the Minnesota Vikings. This has been my Texans offensive line depth chart probably for the better part of 3 months. And I said it before, never wrong, just early. And y'all were telling me, oh, Ursery not going to play right tackle. He's going to be a backup left tackle. It's going to be Blake Fischer. But from all accounts, it seems like when Cam Robinson healthy, he's playing left tackle. Ariante Ursery has been starting at right tackle. And even whenever Cam Robinson went down, Ariante Ursery stepped over to left tackle. And then Titus Howard moved out to right tackle. And Juice Scruggs went to guard. So I want to see how Blake Fischer looks. I don't want to see any false starts. I want to see him get off the ball. I want to see him, maybe pancake some guys out there. Really big game coming up for the former second-round pick in Blake Fischer. Another former second-round pick makes this list, John Metchie III. And I know he's a fan favorite. I've been wanting him to succeed so bad. He came into the league his rookie season, got diagnosed with cancer, obviously went through chemo, went through radiation, was able to beat it, get back onto the field. But he just hasn't been the same since. And with the Texans adding so much to their wide receiver room this offseason, 2 draft picks, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel, teammates from Iowa State. You traded for Christian Kirk. You also signed guys like Justin Watson, Braxton Berrios. It's going to be an uphill battle for John Metchie to make this Texans 53-man roster. He is on the outside looking in, right there on the roster bubble when it comes to the wide receiver room. And it doesn't help that during training camp practices, he's been getting reps in punt return. And one of the first days he did it, I think he muffed 2 punts on his first day of trying to return. So tough look there. Really, really hope he can get on his feet, maybe make the roster, and if not, at least continue his NFL career and make a difference somewhere else. But I really want to see John Metchie out there. I want to see him show his stuff and prove why he deserves a spot on this Texans 53-man roster. I want to hear from you, though, because it depends on whether or not the Texans keep 5, 6, or 7 receivers on whether or not I think John Metchie is going to make this squad. Let me know. How many receivers do you think they keep on the final 53-man roster? My guess, probably an even number like 6, but let me know. Do you think maybe the 5, 7, something crazy like 8? Go down in the comment section and let me know how many receivers you think the Texans keep on this roster. As we roll into the next player on my players to watch, rookie Woody Marks. The Texans went ahead and they actually went up to go get Woody Marks. They traded up, used some of their draft capital to go up and select Woody Marks, the running back out of USC. And so far, he's been kind of a change of pace back. Nick Chubb has gotten a lot of the running back 1 reps with Joe Mixon not practicing due to that foot injury. Dameon Pierce still sidelined so far during training camp. So it's been a lot of Nick Chubb. We've seen a lot of Woody Marks, J.J. Taylor, Daria Gumbawale. But I'd like to see what he can do because all the word coming out whenever Woody Marks was drafted is he's a fantastic catcher of the football in the backfield. I want to see if that translates to the football field and how he's used in this offense. Maybe some running back screens, maybe some wheel routes out of the backfield. I'd like to keep an eye on Woody Marks to see whether or not he can make an impact year one for this Texans offense. Let's go to another guy on the offensive side of the football in Brevin Jordan, tight end. He's somebody who last offseason, I thought he was going to be a breakout guy. And he very well might have if he didn't get hurt in that Week 2 matchup up against the Chicago Bears. Only 2 receptions last year before sustaining that season-ending injury. And everything going into the year last year was, Brevin Jordan could be the guy. He could be somebody who is able to show out. And I think, with Dalton Schultz stepping up, Aaron Wilson reported he's had an amazing camp so far. Kate Stover as well. This tight end room's looking strong. I suspect Brevin Jordan, Kate Stover maybe get a little bit of run in this preseason matchup up against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, obviously, coming off injury, Brevin Jordan didn't play all of last year, so how much run he gets, I'm not sure. But I'd like to see him out there for at least 3 or 4 drives, see if he's got that pop, see if he's got that burst that the Texans could definitely use in this offense in 2025. Lastly, a name that I've mentioned before as a sneaky player to make this Texans 53-man roster, it's Jakob Johnson, fullback. And the Texans, they brought in British Brooks last year, the UDFA out of North Carolina, and he got injured towards the beginning of the year. And then after that, they kind of went away from using a ton of fullback looks. They don't have a, true fullback on the team. Jakob Johnson is that. Also, formerly played with the New England Patriots while Nick Caley and Cole Popovich were on staff, so he has ties to this Texans coaching staff already. Want to see if he's out there. Maybe he doesn't play. If he doesn't play, does that indicate he's with the first-team offense? I don't know, but I will be looking out to see if Jakob Johnson, number 43, is on the football field up against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, coming up, Texans defensive players to watch. Let's switch sides of the football. I'm going to tell you which Texans defenders I'll have an eye out for up against Minnesota. Before we get to that, you should have your eye on these Texans hoodies. They were $69, now only $27. That's more than half off. All you got to do, go to chatsports.com/HOU massive sale. That link will be in the comment section and description of today's video. One more time, it's chatsports.com/HOU massive sale. They have it in gray, navy, and red. All the colors available. The sizes, though, they vary because these are on sale. So once they sell out, they sell out. Go get them while the getting's good. One more time, this link right here in the comment section and description of today's program. All right, let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Somebody who I've heard a ton coming from all my sources from Texans training camp. Everybody that I've talked to that's been to training camp practices has said Solomon Byrd has looked really good in those, second-team reps, third-team reps, one-on-ones going up against the offensive line. He has looked fantastic. The former 7th-round pick out of USC barely got any playing time. I believe only played 2 games last year, but has a good shot to maybe have a chance in doing something this year. He's somebody who's rotated in a lot in this defensive line, and with Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter, I very highly doubt that they have any snaps up against the Minnesota Vikings. It'll be guys like a Solomon Byrd who will get a lot of playing time and, will have a chance to impress this coaching staff. He's somebody who I think is right there on the edge. I think if he continues his trajectory, could easily make this roster, or at the same time, the Texans could look to keep an extra linebacker, keep an extra guy in the secondary, and that would be Solomon Byrd's roster spot. So he has a lot to prove and a lot to gain from these preseason matchups, especially the first one up against Minnesota. Let's look at another guy on the defensive line, Tommy Togiai. And with the Texans, they have a lot of injuries up on the defensive line. Foley Fudakasi has not practiced yet. Derek Barnett has not practiced yet. Danico Autry has also not practiced yet. 2 of those guys play defensive tackle, and that's what Tommy Togiai is. He's like a true nose tackle, stout, big dude. And with Tim Settle, I doubt he plays very much. He's been really good during camp so far. I think he comes in as one of your starting defensive tackles for the Houston Texans. Tommy Togiai is in that same breath as Solomon Byrd, somebody who could get one of those final roster spots just depending on how many guys the Texans want to keep at each position. How many defensive tackles do they want to keep? How many defensive ends do they want to keep? Really, those answers will determine the fates of a guy like a Solomon Byrd and a Tommy Togiai. Next up, let's go to Nick Neman. And he's been somebody who has impressed so far during Texans training camp, especially with somebody like a Christian Harris who has yet to practice. He's somebody who the Texans signed this offseason, has made a couple plays throughout training camp. I know has made a couple nice interceptions during team drills, and is somebody who I think the Texans could look to keep on this roster as somebody who really helps out in special teams. I think I might have to change around this Texans linebacker depth chart, especially with Christian Harris not practicing yet. I might want to put EJ Speed at that other starting spot, but when it comes to, how many linebackers the Texans keep, whenever it comes to the 4th, 5th, 6th guys, maybe if they keep that many linebackers, it's going to come down to special teams. And I think that's where this guy excels a ton. Look for Nick Neman making plays out there with the 2nd, 3rd team defense whenever they go up against Minnesota on Saturday. Let's look at another guy. And this guy, Jaylin Smith, has been looking really good. The Texans traded up in round 3 to take him out of USC. And hell, Kalen Bullock was at his draft party. Already has a great connection with this Texans secondary. I do wonder, though, how much does Jaylin Smith play? Because that will kind of indicate to me how they view him. If he doesn't really play at all, maybe plays one drive, I think the Texans view him as the next guy up when it comes to the outside cornerback room behind Stingley and behind Kamari Lassiter. He's been impressing a ton, making a lot of plays in one-on-ones and 7-on-7 drills. He's looked really good so far and looked like the Texans made a good decision trading up in the 3rd round to select him. So I really want to see if he can lock down some other wide receivers. Has been going up against, battling up against guys like a Christian Kirk, like a Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel. I want to see him go up against Minnesota, and I am really interested to see how many snaps he gets in this first preseason matchup. In this next guy, I'm going to go with MJ Stewart. And he's been on this squad for the past couple seasons, and I just wonder, do the Texans feel the need that they need to sign another safety or get somebody else? Because, MJ Stewart, I don't think, he has a ton to prove. I mean, maybe he does, back into the roster guy is somebody who's, been on and off this Texans team. But with 2 guys injured, definitely not playing, Jimmy Ward, the veteran, and Jalen Reed, the 6th-round rookie out of Penn State, who Aaron Wilson reported could miss, a couple weeks, but it doesn't look like it's a season-ending injury. I wonder if the Texans look at this safety room, because I don't think Kalen Bullock plays. I don't think C.J. Gardner-Johnson plays. I don't think Jalen Petrie plays. So you could see some of these guys getting extended minutes during this matchup, and MJ Stewart could be one of those players that gets a lot of run up against the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I gave you my guys on offense and defense who you should be keeping an eye out for. Let me know, though. Did I miss somebody? Name a player you'll be watching for this Saturday as one of the quarterbacks. Maybe Davis Mills. Maybe it's, Nick Chubb if he gets out there at all. Let me know down in the comment section who you'll be watching, because I will be live on Saturday, 2 o'clock Central Time, an hour before kickoff. Texans, Vikings, we're going to have a ton of fun. My first live watch party of the year. I'm so ready. We are so freaking back. Football is back for your Houston Texans. So make sure, set your notifications, set your calendar. This Saturday at 2 o'clock, we'll be live here on Texans Today.